It's my pleasure right now to introduce to you the new Secretary of Education of the state of New Mexico, Mr. Ryan Stewart.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Yeah. It's such a privilege to be here with this group, and so I just want to thank Steve for the invitation, for giving me the opportunity to come here and be with you this morning and to address this group. I got to talk to Steve a little bit, and he told me why this organization was coming here to New Mexico. And he said that we are just really excited about what's happening in the charter sector here in New Mexico. We think it can be a model. We think that other folks around the country can learn from what's happening here. And then he also said, and you have really good green chili, and I could really use some green chili. So I'm not sure which one of those was the actual reason, but what's happening here in New Mexico was definitely in the top two. And so I hope that you are enjoying your time here in New Mexico. I hope you're loving Old Town Albuquerque and the Hotel Albuquerque, a fabulous venue for this. I hope that you come here, spend a lot of money. We'll do really good things with the tax revenue, I promise. And most of all, hope that you just get to learn from the great work that's happening here, the great work that's happening around the country, and that you're able to get a feel for the flavor of New Mexico. Now, I'm relatively new to New Mexico myself. I'm only a couple of months into the state and into this role, but I've already had the opportunity to visit and learn from many of the charter and district leaders that are here. In my previous roles, I've had the opportunity to visit and observe different charter schools, probably in about half a dozen different states. And I would say definitively there is a different flavor, a different feel here in New Mexico in a way that I'm really excited about, and I think in a way that speaks to the connectivity that our charter leaders have to their communities, and that speaks to a value proposition which, when we get down to the heart of it, really is connected to the local need, is connected to the local experience, and very much ingrains our charter sector deeply into the communities that we serve. We have a really strong independent charter movement here, something that is a fierce source of pride for our New Mexico charter community, and something that drives how and when and where our charters are established. And so I've had the opportunity to talk to some of our deeply locally connected leaders. Frank McCall, I'm not sure if you're in the room, but I got to go visit Frank's school at the Amy Beale Academy here in Albuquerque. And one of the things that I was so impressed with as I was talking to the students there, I asked a couple of the kids, why did you choose this school? And two different kids said to me, they have a really strong liberal arts program. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was in middle school and going to go choose a high school, first of all, I wasn't choosing a high school. I went to the one that was down the street from me. And second of all, I could have told you not one single thing about their liberal arts program. Now, if you'd asked me about the football team, sure, I maybe could have told you something. The cute girl from the middle school who I was keeping my fingers crossed I was going to be in class with, I maybe could have told you something. But anything about their academic programs, I couldn't have told you a thing. So to hear the students not only know that, and for the school to have cultivated that reputation intentionally over time and made sure that their applicants knew about it, and for the kids to now have access to that and be able to make that choice around that line of thinking is a testament to the work that goes in to making sure that you're filling that need for that particular community. I see Rafe sitting here in front of me, Rafe from Albuquerque Sign Language Academy. If you haven't met Rafe yet, you should. Rafe came into this as a father who said, I need a different experience for my child. They're not having the level of service that I need for them, and I want for both the hearing impaired and the students who are not hearing impaired to be able to have a place where they can come together in community and learn from each other and build bridges that aren't currently there. And so based on that vision, based on that that deep need in his community. He started a school, and now we have hundreds of students and families who have been able to benefit from that vision and from that local need. And then over at this table, we have Deputy Secretary Kara Bobroff, the founder and former executive director of the Native American Community Academy. Again, a wonderful school that was connected directly to the need to make sure that we're able to affirm the experience of our Native American students, that we're able to provide a rich and deep, culturally and linguistically responsive instructional experience for each and every student who walks through that door, and so that when they leave the school and they go on to college and to career, they have done it in a community that has supported, that has fulfilled, and that has poured into them the importance of their heritage, their language, and the impact that they can have on their world. And so these are just three examples of many, but the notion that in our independent charter sector, we can be deeply responsive to the needs of our community, that we can bring to light a vision that responds to some of the most important and pressing challenges that our schools and our communities face, and that we can do it in a way where the local need is the driver of the charter sector. And I think this becomes, at this moment, even more critically important, that notion of how and where and when we respond to our communities. Because charters remain divisive nationally. And locally here in New Mexico, we're not immune to this dynamic. But one of the things that I think is fundamentally different about the way in which our independent charters are able to come together is that because they have responded to that need, built that connection, the ability to be able to work into an integrated system becomes much more something that can be spread around sectors. And in addition to that, we have the dynamic where the charter sector becomes part and parcel of the needs of each community and doesn't bring the same level of divisiveness, I think, that we can see elsewhere. When we think about layering on those political challenges with the notion that we have many communities facing declining enrollment, many communities facing a mixed history with the wide range of charters, whether independent or whether parts of charter management organizations, with growing fiscal constraints, being able to really articulate that value proposition and the problem that you're solving and the learning, the organizational and systemic learning that you're helping to drive is going to become even more and more critical to making sure that we continue to have a vibrant and thriving independent charter sector. So these kinds of local and needs-based charters, I think, are going to become an even more critical and even more fundamental part of the way in which charters continue to move forward. I think as divisive as the charters can be, the thing that everyone across the sector can agree on is that the vision of what a thriving charter sector could do, that notion that we are labs of innovation, that we are labs of creativity, that we are labs of learning for how we can do things differently and solve problems in new and different ways, is something that really brings people together. It's something that brought people together originally and that continues to be a driving force behind what we can do. And if we look across the sector, I don't think that that's something that we've gotten right yet. We've created a lot of really great schools, but we haven't yet organized as a system around how do we take innovation that's happening and make sure that it's not just living within the four walls of any one particular institution. And that's not the fault of any one part of the sector. That is everyone combined being organized to learn and to innovate and to drive and scale up important innovations that are making a difference for kids in a systemic way. And this becomes especially true when we talk about our most underserved students. And it becomes especially true when we talk about how are we going to create new paradigms around the instructional core in our schools. So I want to leave with three asks of everyone in the room today around how can we make this innovation and organization for learning really happen in our sector. So For one, being oriented toward solving the entrenched challenges, the challenges that are inherent in a system that is centuries old and that was designed to not serve students who look like me, not serve students who come from low-income background, not serve students from diverse cultures and languages. And we live in that system. We've iterated on that system. We've made improvements in that system, but we still have deep problems to solve within that system. So how we are going to make a move and how we're going to really move the needle on special education and serving our English language learners well. When it comes to content and pedagogy, how we're going to make bigger moves in some of those content areas like secondary mathematics, or in having truly culturally and linguistically responsive instruction and instructional materials for all of our children, and how we get really good at doing place-based and integrated service delivery that brings together institutions and builds on community assets. Some of the most entrenched problems that we have, how can we as the independent charter sector be oriented toward intentionally trying to solve those problems and move the bigger systems? And then at each of the schools, the knowledge management work that you do, and you have a million different things to do as school leaders and as teachers, but the knowledge management part is going to be critical. Many of you have a secret sauce that is working for your kids, it's working for your communities. And how are we going to make that secret sauce transparent so that, again, it doesn't just live within the four walls of your building, but it actually has a chance to rise up and be taken out and affect more and more communities? And how are we going to document that? Document the developmental arc that it takes to get there, the iterative nature of the work and the change management that has to happen. And then how are we going to make sure that that knowledge gets shared? And then finally, the challenge, and this is one that I certainly share as a system leader, is thinking about how we're going to be organized to really and truly learn from the innovations that are happening. And that means we have to identify the areas for learning and growth that we have, the things that we haven't figured out. We have to be really upfront and intentional about how we collaborate with innovators who are in the field to make sure that it's built into the fabric of what we do. And we have to have forums where we get to actually reflect and think about what are the implications of this learning on our broader system. And we have to make sure that our incentive structure is right, that we're not so incentivized to be working at cross purposes that we can't be in rooms together and can't talk to each other. And then we have to have the research infrastructure that allows us to capture this knowledge, to learn what's working, and to be able to say, this is the direction that we want to go. I am excited about the possibilities and the infrastructure that we have here in our independent charter sector. It is strong, it is vibrant, and I think if you have the chance to talk with other folks that are here, who are here from the state, can talk about the charter work that we're doing in the state, you'll come out feeling that too. And I'm excited about where we can go together when we are truly thinking about how we get it right, how we become, New Mexico becomes the first state in the nation to really say, yes, we are truly collaborating, we are truly learning, and we are truly working together across our various sectors to make sure that we are delivering on the right of every one of our kids to have a great and high quality education. And I think that we can hopefully be a model for the state, hopefully be a model for the country, and the learning that we get to do from bringing groups like you into here to share your experiences and thoughtfulness is only going to drive us forward. I look very much to learning more from you, and I am excited to be able to introduce an amazing panel that we're going to be able to hear from this morning that's going to talk about delivering on the needs for each of our kids here in New Mexico in the context of our funding and a critical court case that we have before us. So thank you, and I'm going to introduce our panelists here.